Welcome to GreenBiz Studio. I'm Elaine Shea, Verge Program Director, and I'm here with Andrew Robbins, Executive Director and CEO of Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So glad to have you, Andy. So you are doing some really amazing work in terms of trying to transform the transportation system in the city and county of Honolulu. Tell me more about HART.
Well, HART is a semi-autonomous agency of the city and county of Honolulu, and it was set up specifically to design, plan, and implement the rail transit system for Honolulu, and then to make it ready for operations.
Electric rail, right?
It's an electric rail system. It's urban mass transit.
Right.
Will be a 20-mile system with 21 stations.
That's great, and that makes a lot of sense given that the state has an island commitment for, especially the city and county, has a commitment to 100% renewably powered ground transportation as well, right? So that sort of plays into that.
Very much so. As a matter of fact, I always like to point out that based on our ridership projections, we will be putting 120,000 people in electric vehicles every single day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really scaling. So let's talk about the density and what the landscape currently looks like in the city and county in terms of transportation system options.
Okay. Well, for those of you that have been to Honolulu, you know, it probably looks a little bit more like an Asian city because we do have higher density than most American cities. So even though our population is, about 1 million people, we have very high density. And we have a lot of condominiums, high-rise apartments. So that really gives us the opportunity to implement a rail transit system and get really a lot of bang for the buck out of it.
But right now it's mostly cars. It's a car culture and people drive everywhere, and there aren't many people who I see, like in specific Asian countries, that bike or do other things like that. So what's the vision? What does the future bring in terms of what you see Honolulu transforming itself into with a HART system as well?
Okay. Well, it is true that we do have a car culture. There's about 800,000 cars on the island for a population of a little less than 1 million people. So we have a lot of cars. But at the same time, the bus system here in Honolulu is a very heavily used bus system. I believe we're the 11th busiest bus fleet in the United States. So we do have a public transit culture here in Honolulu. And that really bodes well for the introduction of a rail component to our public transportation system.
Cool.
So that's what we're trying to create here, is a multimodal transportation system.
With walking and biking and rail and bus and cars and any flying things or So what's the next step? What's next for HART?
Well, our mission really is to build the system and complete it. So we're about halfway complete right now with the 20-mile system. And we're working through the airport section right now, and we're starting to emerge into the urban core of Honolulu. So the last 4.5 miles is yet to be procured. We're working very hard on that. We have to relocate a lot of utilities. So we have a lot of engineering and construction activities that still remain, about $1.5 billion worth of new work that we have to put out for procurement. And then we have to really get the system ready for operations. So that entails a lot of tasks in terms of testing the system, certifying the system, making sure it's completely safe before passengers are able to use the system.
So it's been 12 years? How many years?
Well, the system this time around, and you have to understand, Honolulu has been talking about implementing rail for at least 40 years.
Right.
So in around 2006, the current planning for this project started, and construction really started around 2010. There were some starts and stops, but it really got going again around 2011, 2012. So we've been at it a while, and as I mentioned, we have a lot of the system already constructed. We have some of the rail cars here. We've begun testing. And we're really moving forward with the project. Perfect.
And you're going to be done pretty soon, so congratulations on the development so far and for the future and the transformation that will occur as a result.
Right. Well, our plan really is to do an interim opening. So on the first 10 miles, we plan to open that in 2020. So not very far away, and we're very excited about showing our residents that there are benefits that they will actually be able to start experiencing within 2.5 years.
Perfect. Well, I look forward to seeing what happens next. Thank you so much for joining us,
All right,
Andy.
thank you.